Looking for a cosmic adventure like no other? Zatswan, Multiversal Guardian is a high-stakes comic book journey through the multiverse with stunning art and an unforgettable hero. Get your copy today in ebook and paperback formats. Link in the description.
Hello everybody, this is Neil Allen, the creator of Zatswan Multiversal Guardian, the 130-page cosmic fantasy graphic novel that you can pick up on Amazon in the link in the description below. You can get the ebook for only $2.99 or free if you have Kindle Unlimited, or if you prefer physical media, then you could also get it in paperback form. And today I'm going to be doing one of, or rather tonight, it's nighttime, I'm going to be doing one of my, art videos where I do stream of consciousness rambles. So we are going to be inking in this panel down here. I wonder if it looks better without this light on, like if it's easier to see. Okay, I turned it off. I turned it back on. I don't know if it makes a difference. I'm looking at it on my phone. I think we can leave it with the light on. Like that'll do okay. Okay, so we're going to be working in inking here. So we have Zatswan, who's actually in bed. And over here we have his love interest, Alakazona. Zatswan's just waking up. He had a rude awakening up here, woke up from an interesting dream, and now he's in a room with Alaka. And here we have some of my some of the things I have, water, and these are some inks, and I will be doing the inking with my bird feather here. So I'll be using a feather to do the inking. Okay, so one of the things that I was asked by someone was they saw that I made, when I was doing a video about the new cover for Multiversal Guardian, I talked about how I took inspiration from Green Lantern and Sailor Moon as well. And I said that there were things from Green Lantern and Sailor Moon that I liked, and there were also things that I left behind. And that's the way it goes. I've talked about that before, like, you don't want to copy things. Let's start over here. You don't want to copy things. It's okay to be inspired, obviously. But one of the things that to do to differentiate your idea from other intellectual properties is to be inspired by the things that you like about those properties, but there are probably things that you don't care for. And okay, so now that you're making your own thing, this is an opportunity to make things the way that you actually like it. Make things the way you want them to be, like Darth Vader. He talks about that often enough. So let's give him a little bit of shine here. I hope these inking or these art videos of mine are interesting. I appreciate you I appreciate having you along with me. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, so what did I leave behind from Sailor Moon and and Green Lantern? Let's start with Green Lantern, I suppose. So the things that I was inspired by was the idea of this agency, this organization of heroes that keeps the peace in this very broad jurisdiction. So the Green Lantern Corps was designed to protect the universe. So, in Zatswan, I just somewhat, I guess you could say, predictably upped the ante a bit, and I made the Zatswan this organization that protects the multiverse. So, okay, there's that going on, but what's different about that? I often bill Zatswan as like a cosmic thing, which you can say that it is. You can definitely make that um, claim. But an interesting thing I would say is Zatswan is not so much like a space uh, space opera sort of thing. It is like that, and it is built like that, but there are also big differences because you're not dealing so much with space, you're dealing with um, realities. So, which does involve space, certainly, but Zatswan's more. I wouldn't call Zatswan complete portal fantasy, although it does involve a lot of portal hopping. See, what a portal, if you're not aware, what a portal fantasy is like, they usually tend to involve, from my experience, the top of my feather is like hitting my light. Let me move that a bit. Like a particular realm, like I don't know, like Narnia or something like that. Zatswan's jumping through various realities. And oftentimes, I mean, yeah, there are portal fantasy. I guess that's one thing you can say. Zatswan has one of the things that sets it apart. Zatswan has like portal fantasy elements in it that Green Lantern doesn't. There, instead of like going to different planets and stuff, Zatswan's usually going to different universes. This is. Will you move? It's like I have a light here that's like shining down, and like the feather tip is like the feather's so tall, it's like hitting hitting my light. So I'm trying to. Okay, that's better. Just it's like one of these. It's a light with a flexible neck, so you could just move it out the way. So Zatswan actually, I do have that peacekeeper element, but Green Lantern to me seems to have more of a specific emphasis on particularly space, whereas Zatswan seems to emphasize more so realities. Portal hopping instead of like flying to different, worlds. Like Green Lantern does, Zatswan actually like does a lot of portal hopping and reality hopping and things like that. It's a thick line there. The feather can give you some extremely beautiful lines. It's a very... Don't think that all these inking utensils are the same. That they do the same thing, they do not. Like a feather is very different from a technical drawing pen, and also different than a brush and a dip pen too. And the brush is very different than a dip pen. That's why I don't ink all my I don't just use like one particular like inking utensil. I use various ones. The feather is one of my favorites. Actually, I like the feather and the brush and the dip pen. Technical pens, I mean they're good at certain things, but I wouldn't some people do all their inks with like Copic multi-liners and something like that. I think that gives your art like a flatter and less lively feel because the lines are more boring and predictable and just not as lively. Okay, so and one of the things I loved from Green Lantern, and I think we'll talk quite a bit about this, is probably one of the biggest things I left that I don't like about Green Lantern is this revolving door of protagonists that Green Lantern does. And I think the the franchise has ultimately, um, I mean, there are some positives to that, I'm sure, but there are a lot of, let me make sure I get in view what I'm doing. There are a lot of negatives to that too, and probably one of the worst things is this fractured fan base, which I talked about in another video. I think like the John Stewart winning the Green Lantern War video. Um, okay, so that is the aspect that's just not that fun. You know, like all these different fans have their idea of who should be the main Green Lantern and what Green Lantern should be. And, you know, there are a lot of different and conflicting opinions about that. And it leaves the fan base very fractured and wanting different things and expecting different things from you know, that property. And a lot of people like it leaves a lot of people unsatisfied. And you know, that's the part that's not that fun, I think. And I don't want that with Zatswan. Like, you're not going to get that with Zatswan, obviously. Um, the character here, A.C. Cooper, also known as Zatswan, who I'm inking in right now, he is the main character, undisputedly, just like Batman and or Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent are the main character of their franchises and stories. A.C. Cooper, well, we can call him Zatswan, is the main character of Zatswan, and that will never change. I've seen what, like, because I've seen Green Lantern and I've experienced what that fandom's like, and we'll talk more about that as I'm inking. I've seen, like, the effects that can cause, you know, and Green Lantern's a good example. I think I'm out of ink here. Gotta dip again. So you're seeing me. Whoop, I'll go over here. Like I keep my ink in actually this little bit. Like it's in this. I know you can't see that well. Comes from this. I'm using Higgins Black Magic to ink, but I've used this like dropper bottle here, or this little dropper tool to like put a bit of it inside this container, because I can see inside and see how far down to dip. So you typically don't want to dip your the tip of your feather into, like, you don't need it like all up to like where I have my finger here. You don't want that. You don't want to like dip it all the way in. So I wanted to put some of the ink inside a container where I could actually see inside of it. So that's why I have 2 bottles of ink here. Okay, let's get in Zatswan's profile here. Oh wow, I'm not even like I'm sorry. Okay. That was bad. I still had you looking over at that stuff and I'm over here inking. Silly me. Okay, so we're inking in that face. I'm gonna let that sit for a bit. Let's go down and work on this area down here and get the shoulder in. Okay, so one of the things that I got from Green Lantern was this cosmic black man hero, like John Stewart. I thought that was like pretty cool, and I used that for Zatswan here, who is actually mixed, but we'll just say black. And he does not, unlike John Stewart, he does not have all this competition for his hero mantle. He just is the character, he just is the hero Zatswan. So yeah, I took the thing that I liked, like this cool cosmic black superhero guy, got rid of the thing I didn't like, that there are all these other characters who can challenge him for his hero mantle. And that's another example of one of the things I left behind, like with Green Lantern. And that's how you make, that's the way to do it, I think. That's how you ultimately, hopefully, get better things. You know, you see what came before, see the things that worked for it, and, the things that did not work. I penciled this part in a little loosely, so I'm going to look at, I have a picture of my sketch on my computer. I'm going to see how I did that thumb. I can kind of work off of these loose pencils. But, okay. I just wanted to get a better look at this. Let's go in like that. So yeah, that was the thing. Like, I've talked about it several times in the past, but I thought that was a bit of a bummer. How, they had a character like that, but then DC's like, no, we want to use Hal Jordan or somebody instead. And then that cosmic black guy hero just gets shunted off to the side. So another thing to talk about, and I know I will get to, maybe this is kind of fitting. Maybe I'll talk about the Green Lantern stuff as I'm working on Zatswan here, and maybe I'll talk more about the Sailor Moon stuff when I go to work on Alakazona over here. That would actually be somewhat appropriate. So about Green Lantern, and I'm not saying like when I make that point, I understand that a lot of people have their different ideas on who the Green Lantern should be, and I understand that. That's fine. I'm just saying, like, just using my own experience in regards to like that. Okay, he actually has like fingerless gloves, so we'll put those lines in there like that. Okay, and actually, when it comes to inking in AC Cooper here, there wasn't that much to do. We can add in some more details, like I want to get some hatching in here. How about we... Okay. And see, yeah, these, like, a feather, like, this type of hatching, like, I find, like, getting it from a technical pin, it's just not the same. So, like, the feather is, like, really, like, that was really cool looking. I like that. A little bit in here. Okay, and how about some hatching in this area? Let's kind of have a rounded contour here. Okay. And then we could add some details in on the costume, like some shine and stuff like that. And I do need to get this Z in. But going back to Green Lantern, we'll talk about. So it's pretty interesting. I've talked about like this new James Gunn DC universe. Time to dip and get a bit more ink. Where the let's see about zooming out a little bit. Can I not zoom out anymore? For real? Okay. So this James Gunn universe that's using John Stewart. I remember bringing up in a video, like, well, where does that leave Hal Jordan? Like, should DC give, like, Hal Jordan some kind of consolation prize? Something, to keep his fans, something for his fans? Or should they just say, no, and go all in on John Stewart? Kind of like how Beware My Power did, that direct to video movie. Like, obviously they didn't make that for Hal Jordan fans at all. They didn't even try. They were just like, this is a John Stewart movie, and we're going all in on that audience. So what do I think they should do moving forward? Well, my thoughts on that are, I think DC, like, Hal Jordan has a like, this James Gunn universe is obviously going forward with John Stewart. James Gunn has essentially said that the Lanterns show that's coming out is essentially a John Stewart story, and they cast this older Hal Jordan. So part of the fear from some fans of Hal Jordan is that, they're going to kill the character off or turn him into the villain Parallax, which happened to him in the comic books. And that was like Hal Jordan's lowest point, pretty much. And, his fans don't want to go back to that. And Jeff Johns and Peter Tomasi and all those people, went on a crusade to kind of exonerate Hal Jordan in the comic books. Let me connect this line here. Where's his mouth? Let's get in this eyeball here. So their fear is that DC and James Gunn are just going to turn all that back around, make Hal Jordan Parallax, and put things back there. And I guess there's, like, since they, as mentioned, like, Jeff Johns and all those people did this big quest to, like, exonerate Hal Jordan and try to make him the main Green Lantern. And John Stewart, like, got shoved off to the side during all of that. So now that John Stewart's coming to the fore again, what does that mean for Hal? Like, they're concerned that it might not go well for him, and it may not. But what do I think? Like, what are my opinions on that? Here's what I think. I think that DC should continue to publish comics with Hal Jordan, because obviously he has, like, a that's where his fans are really at. That's where, like, his real fan base is at. I think Hal Jordan has often struggled to kind of get in with more casual fans. So, like, his movie didn't, like, oh, that's what I was going to say. They did all this big, DC did all this big effort to exonerate Hal Jordan and push him to the front, and then it just kind of ended up being a disaster, because the 2011 Green Lantern movie just, like, was a massive bomb. So where does that leave Hal Jordan? Like, some, of course, are worried that he's going to be some sort of sacrifice, since his movie, like, didn't perform well, and that whole effort ultimately didn't go over too well, since the movie did so poorly. That's what I was saying. So I think that we can move on from AC Cooper. Let's add in a couple more details on the suit. They should continue to publish comics with Hal Jordan because that's what his audience really wants to see. But as far as the new like movie universe and TV and streaming universe, I would say anything's fair game. Like if you have a compelling story that if they can pull it off, like turning him into Parallax, then I would just say go for it. But you gotta pull it off. And my reasons for thinking that are, first of all, Green Lantern, one of its big weaknesses is that it's not very strong in the villains department. And Parallax is arguably, you can make a case for that Parallax is possibly like the best villain in Green Lantern. He has a very cool name, a very awesome design by Daryl Banks. And he's kind of a cool concept, even if the Hal Jordan's like villain turn was abrupt and perhaps not the most believable thing, and done for 90s shock value during, to try to emulate that death of Superman type of buzz and stuff. And I will concede that, yes, like all that was a factor, like that was a thing. Despite all that, I still think like Parallax is a strong concept. Like even though his turn wasn't as convincing as it could have been in the comics, the actual idea is interesting, and the character does have a lot going for him, like the name and the look, and on paper the story. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I think I'm going to clean off the feather here, and we're going to dirty up some of this water. Boop. Okay, clean the feather. And we're going to take some of that yellow ink and get in that Z logo, that Tesseract Z logo. So one of the things I'm proud of with Zatswan is like the Zatswan logo. I really like the way that came out. Zatswan gets his power from a Tesseract, and this is like a square within a square and then the Z. So it actually says a lot about the character. Like the logo. And it's like distinctive but not overly complicated. So as I was saying about Green Lantern, I think that they should continue, like Hal Jordan has an audience in comics, and they should continue like publishing Hal Jordan comics because his fans want those. But if they have a compelling story, like if they can do it well, I'm definitely open to seeing him turn into Parallax. Now his fans won't like that, but I think that I just wouldn't consider that. Like, oh well. Like fans, not everybody's going to be happy here. Like when John Stewart was getting pushed aside, some of these fans, I don't want to say all of them, but some of these fans always rationalize all these reasons why that was okay. It was okay for them, and that's fine. But it's kind of like turnabout is fair play. Like, oh, John's the least interesting. They don't focus on him because he isn't popular, or he's the least interesting, or he had to be on a team, because he's not good by himself. Like he got popular on the Justice League cartoon show, which was a team, and it was popular because Batman was there. Like all this stuff. You know what I mean? So, now that the tables are turned, getting in this logo here with yellow Bombay India ink. Now that the tables are turned, no, I don't think I feel bad. Like, just know who you, I understand that logic. Know who you're appealing to. Like, say, John Stewart fans. If you're appealing to John Stewart fans, appeal to John Stewart fans. And not everything you do there is gonna, like, some of these fans, they're not gonna like it. And, okay, well, there was a lot of stuff that went on when they were doing all that Hal Jordan stuff that John Stewart fans didn't like, and they just did it anyway. Go read Jeff Johns' last Green Lantern issue, number 20 of the New 52 run. And it was like John Stewart gets like one. It's like this mega sized. I don't know how much was that, 40 pages. I know it was like an extra big issue, and John Stewart gets like one sentence in the whole thing, and like all the Green Lanterns are there. Guy Gardner, Kyle, and and John's there, and he like says like one thing. It's literally like that. He says like one sentence. I'm pretty sure that stuff was by design. Uh, so I mean, they were doing stuff like that. So it's like, I think the thing I'm thinking is like, and Hal Jordan can attest to this. You don't get like, because his movie like sucked so bad and bombed, and now look where he's at. You don't get like a bunch of tries a lot of time, especially with something like Green Lantern. So if you're gonna, this is your chance to do something. Go whole hog. That's what I say. It's like go hard or go home. So if it's your um time to, if it's John Stewart. Oh man, I still wanted to do some yellow here on the belt. We'll get that later. Okay, so if it's John Stewart's time to like to rise up again, okay, well, you can't be worried about compromises. You're gonna have to get this character over. So you can't be worrying about upsetting Hawkman fans with his romance with Hawk Girl, or upsetting Hal Jordan fans. You're just gonna need to do what you need to do to tell like the most compelling story you can. You know. That's kind of my view. Okay. Um, so yeah, I think if you Parallax, like that's a okay. So the good things about going with Parallax are that he's one of Green Lantern's best villains, if not the best. And if you want your story to be very compelling, if you want your character to be very compelling, you need like good villains. And Parallax is a really good villain, so yeah, I'm okay with that. Um, okay, so let's use yellow to get in here. And about the Hawk Girl thing, um, yeah, don't worry, I wouldn't worry about these Hawkman fans. You got to do what you need to do to like tell a good story with John Stewart, and not everybody's going to be happy about um, that. So, oh well. That's kind of the way I like. If the audience doesn't like it, then they will, let they'll let the company know. So we'll just let kind of the market. Do you have any ink on here, Feather? We'll let the market sort that out. If the audience does like that, well, then Hal Jordan fans and Hawkman fans are just on a different page from what the audience wants. So that's what I would do. Just go ahead and do Parallax, and go ahead and do Green Lantern and Hawk Girl. And if the audience doesn't like that, then they'll let the company know, and the market will sort it out. That's probably the best. That's my view on it. Okay. This is Zatswan's glowy belt, and I think we have Zatswan all inked in. These rambles are helpful. There's more detail to put on the belt. I probably should do that. I'm debating whether to take out a pencil and do it right now, or just do it with the feather. I'll probably just get it in with a feather. Okay. That ink wasn't flowing very well. I had to water it down a bit to get it to run a bit better. Okay, and this is going to be a straight line too. Okay, so, but speaking of all that, yeah, you see all this like fans being on different page and stuff like that. Fans like wanting completely diametrically opposed stuff. You get that in a lot of fandom for a lot of different things, but Green Lantern's like especially bad. So that is the thing that I left behind. Okay, so he's got like a blanket on him. I do have to ink that in. I don't know why I wasn't thinking about that. Um, we can see a bit of his Tesseract core there. So let's get that. I left that behind because yeah, I have my opinions about Green Lantern, but I don't think that, and you know, I do like what I like about it, but I don't like that. You know, the fan base is as divided and fractured as it is, and I think that's mostly due to the having a revolving door of protagonists. It has more than it can sustain and far more than it needs, and now it's gotten to the point where it's really ridiculous. So I don't like that about Green Lantern, and you know, it's kind of a very unattractive aspect of the franchise. So that's something that I left behind. That's probably the biggest thing I wanted to get away from with Zatswan. Actually, there's a lot of detail too that we can put up on this gauntlet thing that's pretty shiny. So I might work on that too. Okay, we're gonna need more black ink. And again, I really appreciate you joining me on these art rambles of mine. Stream of consciousness art videos where I just ramble about various things while I'm doing artwork. But that's the thing, yeah, I think I said something, or if I didn't say this, I was meaning to. Let's get in the details on... You want to do a better job than the stuff that was like before. Like if you're not going to do a better job, at least for what you're trying to do, then there's no point in, you know, doing something, you know, like another thing. Like there are things I borrowed from Green Lantern that, again, Green Lantern didn't fully invent. Like Green Lantern is borrowed a lot of ideas from the Lensman. If I didn't think I could do it better or provide something different that people still want, like I'm not the only one who has these complaints about Green Lantern, a lot of people do, then I wouldn't think it would be worth like doing it, you know, because there's already Green Lantern there. Okay, so just adding it, and these details on this gauntlet will kind of bring them more to life when we do the coloring. So he's looking pretty good, and let's get in his legs here that are underneath the blankets. So yeah, when you're a comic artist, drawing drapery and cloth, that's actually a big thing. I have a whole book on it. Okay, and we do want like a thicker line because this is like up front. Okay. And this is going to be in front of his arm, so we're going to go over top like that. Okay. And let's get in these folds too. That's important. Okay. Up. Okay, good. And then like how you there are a lot of different lines you can get with a good feather. Kind of how you flick the feather like kind of determines what the line's going to be like, so you could get a nice good strong bolt line like up in here, or these like thinner lines, just depending on your like your action with your strokes. Get more ink. And okay, so this is a part of his costume that's peeking through. Okay, we've got a little bit of pooling there, but that's okay. And we're almost done with Zatswan here. And then we'll go on to Alaka and discuss Sailor Moon some, or I could start talking about, so kind of Sailor Moon, I don't think I had anything that I didn't want to like get rid of per se. Thing about Sailor Moon is that Zatswan is more boys action than Sailor Moon is. So I guess one thing I didn't like take over from Sailor Moon was like a lot of the juvenile kind of schoolyard type of stuff, because Zatswan's just not that. So it has kind of some of that more dreamy romance aspect. I think I could position this better, this camera. So we could get a bit more of an all-encompassing view here. Okay, that's better. There we go. That's what things are looking like right now. He's not looking too bad, huh? I think we could maybe go into the hair here and like get a bit more detail. And of course there's this background here that I'll work on. I think I don't need the feather right now. I'm going to go in with technical pen and get some little details. So I'm going to clean the feather here and just set it down right there, and come back over here and get a micron. This is a size 3. That's a little big. I have smaller. A 1, a 0, 1. This is what we can use. Okay. About, Sailor Moon. So, I guess, I didn't care. Zatswan's obviously more serious and more boys action oriented than Sailor Moon is, which is like a shoujo manga and anime. And Zatswan is not that. It has like some of the dreamy aspects of it, but more complex plot line, I would say. And I do have some of the okay, so here's what's actually I borrowed from that. Some of the kind of more interpersonal drama, like if you read the first chapter of Zatswan, you have Marlene having some angst at home and angst with some guy she's interested in, and I kept that. So even though like there are multiversal stakes, I wanted that human, kind of those smaller human moments in there to balance that out. That's why I tend not to like these like Marvel and DC event comics, because it's just like a bunch of like big spectacle and just stakes, and I guess that's the way they want them. And I feel like a lot of the more character stuff is like lost in there. And okay, like that makes me feel a bit disconnected from the actual characters. And if I'm disconnected from the characters, the stakes don't mean as much to me. Because if I'm disconnected from the characters, I don't care as much about what happens to the characters. So I did like get some of that, you know, human element from Sailor Moon in there. That I saw something that a Green Lantern in certain runs, like the very popular and famous Jeff Johns run, was very, very lacking. Okay, we're just adding in these touches here, but at the same time, what I left behind was like kind of the school type of stuff and the juvenile element of it, like, and the simplicity, I guess you could say. We can get some. Do I want to do this with the micron, or do I want to bring my feather back? I'll just, since the micron's here, get some shading in here. And I made it like the action more intense, because like I was saying, it's more, you know, Zatswan's more like more boys type of stuff, not as girly obviously as Sailor Moon is. But I did take an element of that, some elements that Sailor Moon has that let's get some hatching in here. Just a little bit. And that's something that like sets Zatswan apart and makes it interesting. And how about some hatching in here too? Alright everybody, I'm going to interject on my own video, and I think we're going to cut things off here. I know I could just ramble on and on and on, and I can really get lost in my artwork, you know, like I can get to doing art and like hours go by and I'll feel like, well, I haven't even done that much, you know, but I could really lose myself in it if I let myself. So I do want these, like, I do like the long form content that I'm doing here, but I do want to keep the videos you know, pretty digestible for people. So I'm gonna cut this video off here. I'm getting in this blanket, and I do go on to ink in the Alakazona that's standing next to Zatswan here, but I think we will save that for something else. And I do want to thank you for joining me in this video while I was doing this art. It's a lot of fun. And, you know, like I've said before, you know, it helps me, you know, do my artwork, I think, you know, just rambling on like this. Be sure to like and subscribe, and there will be a lot more videos coming very soon, so stay on the lookout for those, and check out Zatswan Multiversal Guardian in the link in the description. Please pick that up and leave reviews. That helps a lot. It's good to know what you guys think about my work, and also the reviews will help other people find it. So stay tuned for more, like and subscribe, and I will see you soon.